Hello, I'm unironically a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I know simply saying that in this day and age is enough to alert everyone who lives on the same street, but I don't care. I didn't quite catch this series when it was just out, but I did discover it shortly after the second game was released. The year was 2014. I was 2 months into 6th grade and caught my friends playing a recreation of the first game in Roblox. I was intrigued. So yeah, my first experience with this franchise was a low-poly recreation in Roblox. Feel free to leave your 12-paragraph comment about how I was a fake fan. I didn't really play the rest of these games aside from those Roblox versions of 1 and 2, so I mostly watched Let's Players like most people do with this series. No wait, I played the mobile demos of 3 and 4, does that count? In any event, a few months ago I decided I wanted to make my entire Steam friends list block me, so I replayed the first game, bought 2, and then bought and played every subsequent game over the span of a few days, because this is what happens when you give me adult money. So I guess to justify to myself buying all of these, I decided to make a review series about all the games made by Scott Cawthon himself in Click Team Fusion, which means no help wanted, special delivery, or security breach. My phone doesn't have a gyroscope and my PC wouldn't be able to run help wanted or security breach while recording. I also don't own them, so I can't play them, period. With all that settled, here's the game that started it all. You ever looked back at some of Scott Cawthon's older work? I know I just said I was going to talk about FNAF 1, but it's interesting to think that someone whose first YouTube uploads were an animated adaptation of The Pilgrim's Progress in 2007 would go on to become one of the biggest icons in the world of indie horror games of all things. As I'm sure many of you know by now, Scott first made a few other standalone games such as The Desolate Hope, Sit and Survive, There Is No Pause Button, and most notably, Chipper & Sons Lumber Company. That last one got beaten to death by critics because the characters resembled the creepy animatronics from Chuck E. Cheese. This upset Scott a lot at first, and then he thought, oh yeah, you want scary animatronics, huh? And that's how this huge multimedia empire was born. I wish I had this man's confidence. You can still find the original trailer for this game on YouTube. It's really cool looking back to see how much changed, and how much is actually still similar. But let's save the rabbit holes for when I talk about the third game. I know it's probably not necessary to discuss, but just for formality's sake, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is a restaurant that's main selling point is its collection of 4 animatronic characters: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. The characters are normally harmless and stationary during the day, but during the night, the animatronics are left in a free roaming mode to prevent their servos from locking up. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day until one of them bit someone in 1987, resulting in their frontal lobe being removed. The problem with them wandering around during the night is that they don't recognize you as a human if they see you after hours, instead perceiving you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on. So they will attempt to stuff you inside one of these suits filled with plenty of mechanisms, which I'll just let the game do the talking.
The only parts of me that would likely see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth that would pop out the front of the mask.
So yeah, pretty important you keep yourself safe. As you make it through each night, a new message gets played from the previous night guard, who offers you advice on how to fend off each of the animatronics. Until the 4th night where he seemingly gets killed off by one of them, no confirmation who. But on the next night you hear this. Eventually you manage to survive your 5 nights and get your paycheck, from which you can come back to earn 50 cents of overtime. You can even come back one more night where you can get fired for tampering with the robots and forgetting to take a shower. So the story is pretty simple for the time being, and the rest of the game is pretty basic as well. The only input you need for the night gameplay is a working mouse and left click. You can check the lights outside your office, slam the doors down if something's outside, and flick the cursor down to check the security cameras. Flipping through the cameras is the bulk of the gameplay, since it's your only frontline defense against these killer robots. If you're thinking you can just slam both doors shut and call it a night, sorry, but the building has limited power, probably due to budget reasons, and these doors draw a ton of energy when closed. Keeping track of the animatronics on the camera is more important than you might initially think. Catching them on the cams will stun them for a brief period of time, keeping them away from your door for a little bit longer. Of course, the issue with this is that the cameras also use power when you have them up, so you need to manage it wisely. Each animatronic has a different behavior, so it's important to keep track of who's where and know how to keep them at bay. Bonnie and Chica will randomly wander the building, making their way towards your office eventually, with Bonnie roaming the left wing and Chica the right. All you have to do is close the respective door once one of them appears outside. Foxy will slowly start peeking his head out of the curtain in Pirate Cove, until he runs down the hall and either kills you or bangs on the door to your office, draining your power. He's unable to move when the camera is up though, so all you need to do is regularly check the cameras and he'll be unable to come after you. Lastly, Freddy has two different ways of coming after the player. From night 3 onward, he'll start coming off the stage and take the exact same path Chica does, only unlike Chica, Freddy moves in a fixed path. Despite being one of the least aggressive characters, Freddy actually ends up being the most menacing on the cameras. He's extremely well hidden, a lot of times you'll only ever see his eyes in the darkness, until the very last camera where he gets right up close and personal. Freddy's whole thing is that unlike the other animatronics, he'll never go backwards that far, so the only thing you can do to keep him from killing you is to just check the camera he's on. If you change the camera without shutting the right door, Freddy will come into the office and wait for an opportunity to attack. The other way Freddy can come after you is if you run out of power. From this point, he'll come to the left door and then start playing a music box. Your only hope at this point is to just pray that the night ends. Which it can, and did happen to me when I was recording footage of Night 5. Despite the simple gameplay loop, this first game ends up being fairly engaging. Excellent sound design, making every moment full of unease, and there's rarely a dull moment since everyone's always on the move. That's not even mentioning the amount of secrets that this game holds. You can really tell a lot of effort was put into this one game, which as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure this game was only meant to be a one-off. But it was popular enough to get a sequel 2 months later. Holy crap, that wasn't a big wait. So, join me next time for my review of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. See you all then.
Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this, then chances are you've made a very poor career choice.